I'm testing it out. All right. Another minor adjustments day. How you doing, Linnell? How are you?
Fine.
I'm great too. So today, before we get started, go over some preliminary stuff. How everybody doing? It's another great day for us to be doing minor adjustment week 6. Minor adjustment week 6. Went kind of fast, didn't it? 6 weeks that quick. Went real fast. Minor adjustment week 6. All right.
Are you live?
Are we? You better believe it. Minor adjustment week 6. So
It's not showing up for me. That's why I asked.
alright. It'll come up there. How you doing? How are you? Alright. Minor adjustment week 6. We'll wait about 5 minutes for a few people who usually be tuning in to tune in, and we can go through some things I like to always go through, like my first book, or go through the 8 books that I wrote. My first book is Pushed Out the Crack House into God's House. How to allow your past to push you into your destiny. Pushed out the crack house into God's house. How to allow your past to push you into your destiny. This book is about me, how far I came to where I am now. That's my first book. Second book is the 28 sermons you have to hear. The 28 sermons you have to hear. How God uses different times to fashion us into useful vessels. The exact same things that we be going through, God uses those things to fashion us into useful vessels. The 28 sermons you have to hear. Pick that up anywhere. All my books you can get on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever. You can download them actually from Amazon for only like $3, I believe. So try to get that book. My third book is The Journey is Too Great for You. The Journey is Too Great for You. This is another great book that you should try to get. This book is about a person who basically who is on a journey, but come to the realization that the journey by yourself is too great for you. This is a great book for individuals who are on a journey to fulfill their destiny. And I wrote this book while I was going through a lot of different things, but I used this book to let people know that the journey is too great for you. You will need a team, and you will have to build up your relationship with your spirituality. The journey is too great for you. Again, you can get all my books. You can go to my website, mineradjustments.org, or you could just go to Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. I have an author page called Michael Mickey Williams Jr. on Amazon.com. They gave me an author's page where you can get all my books from there. Hi, Diane. Talking about hi, Orange. Alright, my next book is God Changed Your Name. So why are you living below who He made you? And if you look on the book, you see the caterpillar. You look on the book, you see the caterpillar. But on the back of the book, you see a butterfly. On the back of the book is a butterfly. So God changed your name. So why are you living below who He made you? Again, this is our 6th week of minor adjustments, and I'm just going through the minor adjustments program. Before we start the minor adjustment program, we're just basically going over all of the books that I have been blessed to write. Another book I been blessed to write is I'm a Believer. I Am What I Am. And this book is another great book that just was inspired by me facing certain obstacles in my path, and it seemed like the doors wasn't open, and instead of me backing down to the things that I was facing, I went back to those doors, and I told those doors or those mountains that I'm a believer. and them doors finally came open. You have to get this book. It's very encouraging. You are a believer. I am a believer. I am who I am. So I made those mountains basically move. All right. Let's see what we got here now. My other book that I wrote is called Come Over to the Other Side of the Cross. This is another great book for believers, to encourage them and let them know it is no need for you to live on that side of the cross, to try to work yourself to death, so to speak, instead of just tapping into what has already been done for you and just walk in what has already been done, and that's no more toil. And this book is about no more toil and basically stepping into what has already been done and not even working hard and making things manifest in your life. This is Come Over to the Other Side of the Cross. Purchase that one. And my last book is My Purpose is Greater Than My Struggles. My purpose is greater than my struggles. Hi, Don. My purpose is greater than my struggles. This book is strictly about purpose. This book is geared straight for individuals who are like me, who don't want to just exist but want to live on purpose. This book, my last book, is My Purpose is Greater Than My Struggle. Hey Tracy, My Purpose is Greater Than My Struggle. This is a purpose-driven book for all the individuals who have a desire to seek after their purpose. Get this book and it will guide you to the same path that I went down to get me on chasing my purpose. All right, with that said, get some water, and we're going to start the minor adjustments program. You ready? I am too. All right, minor adjustments. Today, for the last 8 weeks or 6 weeks, we got 2 weeks left, we're going to do the minor adjustment program. The Minor Adjustments Program is a program that we created that go inside institutions, rehabilitation centers, churches, any type of institution or place where individuals will need some type of help. It's an 8-week course that we have created, and we go through each week. We come and we teach on a different subject. Like today's subject is the actual name of the program, Minor Adjustments. And each week we would teach on something different. We would come in and we would teach on something different each week. And when we go to these places, we teach. The first week will be an introduction. The second week we'll talk about purpose. The third week we'll talk about surrendering. The fourth week we'll talk about visualizing. The fifth week we'll talk about endurance. And the sixth week we will talk about, hey family, First Lady. And then today we will talk about minor adjustments, which is the 6 weeks. But after the 8 weeks that we're going into the rehabilitation centers, halfway house, Salvation Armies, we even did it for drug court a few times. And after the 8 weeks, they'll get a certificate with their names on it like this. They'll get a certificate. They'll get bracelets, anywhere but backwards bracelets, which is our motto.
Have a graduation ceremony.
My wife will put on some graduation music, like they walking down with their robe. Give them a sense of encouragement. The first time she did that, I said that was a good idea. Nobody can give her that type of knowledge but the Holy Spirit. But anyway, she would play the music for them, and they give them a sense of accomplishment. We give them a sense of accomplishment, and that's what we do. We try to inspire, use our lives to be the salt and the life of the world, and just show individuals that it's possible to come from one situation and change your life and go into another direction. So after that, with that being said, today today we're talking about minor adjustments. Minor adjustments mission statement is: minor adjustments is dedicated to preventing and reducing crime, and our primary purpose is to teach men or women how to make the minor adjustments that are necessary in their lives, which will allow them to obtain and maintain a productive lifestyle after incarceration and or rehabilitation. Our motto is anywhere but backwards. Our motto is anywhere but backwards. We teach individuals, and that motto came from a scripture that I read years ago, which is Jeremiah 7:24, and it says, "Yet they did not obey and incline their ear to me, but they followed the counsel and the dictates of their own hearts, and they kept going backwards instead of forward." When I read that scripture, I was actually in a rehabilitation center, and when I read that scripture, I suddenly got a revelation that I only have to focus on going forward and don't focus on going backwards. So I kept that, applied it to my life, and I had stood on that same scripture every day since I came across that scripture, that I have to stay focused on going anywhere but backwards. So minor adjustments. During that mission statement, the two words, hey Mary, the two words that are important in that mission statement is to obtain and to maintain. The word obtain means to come into the possession of something, and the word maintain means to keep it in existence. So we teach the individuals to attain your freedom. That's easy. The challenge is to maintain it. To attain your sobriety, that's easy. Your challenge is to maintain it. And the reason why I say to obtain your freedom is easy is because when a person is committed a crime that has been sentenced for a crime, the judge give them a particular time that they have to do. So even if they maxed out, did all their time, maxed out means do all your time, even if they maxed out, did all their time, they know exactly when they were coming home. So to attain their freedom, that's easy. The challenge is to maintain it. Can you acquire or accumulate the necessary skills that you will need to maintain the freedom you had? Me personally, when I came home, I started by building my spiritual foundation. I built my spiritual foundation, used my spiritual foundations to acquire or to help me acquire what I needed to maintain my freedom from jail. And to obtain your sobriety, that was easy too. All you have to do to get sobriety is actually go to a detox or a rehabilitation center, and they'll get you out the drugs out your system. So you'll have some type of sobriety then. That's easy too. The challenge is, can you maintain the sobriety? So minor adjustments is just as a program to try to give individuals different coping skills, relapse prevention skills, life skills, whatever you want to name it. I don't really care. I'm trying to give individuals things that they can use to maintain their sobriety or their incarceration or criminal lifestyle. So today, where we at, Miss Williams?
Minor adjustments.
Today is I have two particular subjects, two particular topics out of the 8 weeks that I love, and one of them is purpose, which is week 2, and the next one is week 6, which is minor adjustments. Obviously, kind of biased about just the name. So, but each week, that's Keon. Each week when we do the individual sessions, we have an expectation for the group. Every week we have an expectation for the group. This particular week, my expectation is everyone will make a commitment to their rehabilitation process, or everyone will make a commitment to their change. Everyone will make a commitment to their change. Whatever it is that you're trying to change, you will have to make a commitment. My expectation is that everyone will make a commitment to their rehabilitation process. Let's go. If you're going to get something you never got, you will have to do something you never did. Mr. Wynn said the first time he used a chainsaw, he would cut everything in sight. He would cut trees that were standing up, lying down in the dirt, or wherever. But the chain would get dull quick. He would get it sharpened and start to cut some more. But the same thing would happen. The chain would get dull quick. Then this older gentleman told him that the reason why the chain is getting dull is because he was letting it hit the dirt. So he learned that to make it work, it was how it was designed to. He had to make some minor adjustments. When I first learned how to use a chainsaw, I'm originally from Atlantic City. I never actually used a chainsaw ever in Atlantic City until I moved out Cumberland County. But anyway, so when I used to cut trees, I used to cut the trees that was in the dirt. cut the trees standing up. I would just cut trees. I don't know. I just cut them, right? So I would just cut trees like that. But I realized, or an older man told me, the reason why your chain is getting dull is because you keep letting it hit the dirt. So I knew that I had to make some minor adjustments. Remember I said that everyone will make a commitment to their rehabilitation process. There was a story I read one time in the paper, and it was talking about the chicken and the pig. And remember it was about the chicken and the pig. And it said the chicken and the pig were walking down the street one day, and the chicken seen a sign that says, eggs and bacon, all you can eat. So the chicken was feeling somewhat generous and says to the pig, let's go over there and make a contribution. So the pig looked at the chicken and said, if I go over there, if you go over there, you'll be making a contribution. If I go over there, I will have to make a commitment. You see, the chicken had in his head, go over there, drop a few eggs, and be on his way. But if the pig would have had to go over there, the pig was going to have to give his life. Now, I said all that to say this. There are a lot of individuals who struggle with drugs and struggle with criminal lifestyles. But those individuals are thinking like the chicken. They are only willing to make a contribution to their rehabilitation process. But in all honesty, in order for you to be successful, you will have to make a commitment to your rehabilitation process. You have to make a commitment. You can no longer make a contribution when you're trying to change something that has not been working. When you are living or struggling with something like gambling, you have to make a commitment to the change. You cannot think like the chicken. The chicken was thinking about going over there, dropping some eggs, and going on his way, which was a commitment, which was a contribution. But the pig was going to have to make a commitment. And in order for you to actually make some minor adjustments in your life, you're going to have to make a commitment to it. You cannot make a contribution to it. You will have to make a commitment to your rehabilitation process. Where we at? 1 second. All right. The word minor means lesser, as in size, extent, or importance, or being or knowing of the lesser of the two. Small, minor. What's minor? Again, we doing questions out of the minor adjustment workbook, which is the 8-week course that we do. What's minor for you to change in your life, but it seems hard? What's minor for you to change in your life, but it seems hard? Minor for you to change, but it seems hard. It says, the chances of recovery are good if there is a total commitment by the person, a complete lifestyle change. The chances of recovery are good if there is a total commitment by the person. Remember, I was just talking about you having making a contribution to your rehabilitation process, or you making a commitment to it. Their chances of recovery are good if there is a total commitment by the individual. The individual, no matter who they are or no matter what they're trying to change, they will have to make a commitment to it and not a contribution. Let's see. Why didn't you take heed? Why didn't you take heed to the advice that was given to you? These are questions that I wrote down in the book. What minor work have you done on the inside? It's an inside job. Listen, it's an inside job. What minor work have you done on the inside? The reason why these questions are in the book is because they get the individuals to start thinking and asking themselves, what minor work have I done on the inside? That inside can be actually in an institution, because most people try to wait till they get out of institutions or out of rehabilitations to start doing the work on what they need to do. It's the wrong time to do the work. You need to do the work when you're in the program. When you do the work in the program, it gives you a better foundation for when you step back out of the program. Or most individuals try to change things when they come home from incarceration. Actually, you need to do the work on the inside. And overall, it's an inside job because there's things that you have to deal with on the inside that you went through in your life that you might be holding on to that keep pushing you back into your old past. And our motto is anywhere but backwards. Let's see. Understanding how people change. This is important. Listen to me. Understanding how people change is the first step in changing unhealthy behaviors. Understanding how people change is the first step in changing unhealthy behaviors. What that means is every strategy that you use, the strategy you use with one individual might not necessarily work with the next individual. And that's why you have to understand how people change. You can be blank, tell someone the truth and it won't really affect them, but you can't really be like straight up and tell somebody the truth about how they're living. It might hurt their self-esteem. You understand? Like sometimes you might tell someone one thing, you don't have to lie to them, but you have to understand how they change. They might not be a type of person who can receive the way you just blatantly tell them. Some people you might have to basically build them up before you drop them off.
And are you that type of person?
Yeah.
Can you understand can you handle when someone tells you the truth?
Yeah.
That's why things are on the inside. And when we say it's an inside job, because sometimes you have to look on the inside. Why is it when someone tells you something, it bothers you so badly, or it hurts you or offends you so much because they said it to you? Yeah. Is there any truth in what they're saying? Is there something that you need to look at?
Yeah, what's understanding how people change? How Miss House Sister Adeline? Understanding how people change is the first step in changing unhealthy behaviors. Understanding how people change. You have to understand how individuals change. How you doing, Mr. Moses? Next question is, why haven't you made that minor changes? Why haven't you made
that minor change? Why haven't you made that minor changes? The first question was, what minor work have you done on the inside? And the next one is, why haven't you made that minor change? Do you want this same reality, frustration, or problem 6 months from now? Listen to me. Why haven't you made the minor change? Each individual can basically judge themselves and they know what they need to change. Listen, you already know what particular area. I already know what particular areas that I struggle in and that I need to change. It says, do you want this same reality, frustration, or problem 6 months from now? If you still getting the same thing back to you, you know what you need to change. And you could now, if you don't change the situation or change how you're doing things, now you need to ask yourself, do you want that same frustration? Do you want that same reality, that same problem 6 months from now? Because unless you make the minor adjustments, that's exactly what we're going to get. Unless we make the minor adjustments in our own individual lives, we will experience the same frustration, the same problems 6 months from now. And that's why it say, why haven't you made the change? You need to ask yourself, and this is a self-evaluation thing for your own life. Why haven't I made that change? And why? That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Because a lot of times
excuse me,
changes, it's not that they're very difficult, it's because we don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times you sit here, why haven't I done it? The truth is, you just don't want to. You don't want that same result, but you don't want to change either. You know, there's a lot of people, they don't want to get up 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work, but they want that check.
When it's payday.
So guess what? They get up and go to work whether they want to or not, so they can get that check.
Yeah.
Same with change. You might not want to do it, but you want a certain result. So do it to get that certain result, regardless of how you're feeling.
Yeah, because the question is, why haven't you made that change?
Everyone has to make minor adjustments in their life, no matter if it be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. We all have to make minor adjustments, and that's what we basically is trying to get individuals to see. And this is not saying that we sitting on clouds and we got it all together. We got to make minor adjustments too, because we don't want the same reality, same problem, and same frustration 6 months from now. So in order for us not to have the same reality, same frustration, and the same problems 6 months from now, we're going to have to change something. It's obvious that it's there, so we have to do something to change it. And that's what that question is about. Again, this is a minor adjustments program, and we basically doing 8 weeks on 8 weeks, the last 8 weeks on live. This is week 6, which is titled Minor Adjustments. And it's an 8-week program that we do in different facilities that we've been able to do it with. Anybody who work in different facilities or different programs can contact us. Go up to our website, minoradjustments.org, or call 1-888-373-9524, or email us at minoradjustments2013 at gmail.com, and we'll talk to the program directors. We'll talk to the person over the Stronghold Ministry at your church, Salvation Army, wherever, and we'll try to hook it up. But minor adjustments is dedicated to preventing and producing crime, and our primary purpose, we step past it sometimes. Our primary purpose is to teach men and women how to make the minor adjustments that are necessary in their lives, which will allow them to obtain and maintain a productive lifestyle after incarceration and or rehabilitation. Our motto is anywhere but backwards, which is the scripture that I read from Jeremiah 7:24. Says, yet they did not obey and inclined their ear to me, but they followed the counsel of their own hearts, and they kept going backwards instead of forward. So we teach individuals anywhere but
Sean
backwards.
McDaniels has a question.
What's Sean McDaniels
He
say?
says, what happens when people say, I am waiting on God to change me?
If you're waiting on God to change you, that is a good question. Because when I used to say, God going to change me, and my wife used to say this to me, I just said that today. I just told a brother that today. I used to tell my wife, I'm waiting for God to change me. And my wife used to straight tell me to my face, if you think God going to come down here and take that pipe out your mouth, you crazy. And that's just, she used to just tell me, like, if you think he gonna take that crack pipe out your mouth, take that heroin out your pocket, you crazy. No, that's not how it works. We need to build our spirituality up, build our relationship up with our higher power that we believe, we prefer, Jesus Christ. You need to build up. You're going to have to make the minor adjustments. If you keep thinking that God's going to come take it out your hand, then you'll be sitting there with that thing in your hand for the rest of your life.
For one thing, everything that you need is already inside.
Come on. She read my notes.
That's the first thing. And what God will do is make a way of escape.
Yep.
He will provide. He will make provision. But he's not going to change you, because everything that's going on, God wants you to give it to him. He don't want to take anything. I want this man sitting next to me to love me because he wants to love me, not because I'm holding something over his head or he needs something from me. And that's how God is with us. He gives us free will.
Yeah, because when you waiting on, if you say you're waiting for him to do it, that's a faith statement, but at the same time, you have to realize that you're going to have to do something. You are going to have to go to him and acquire whoever your higher power may be, or whoever you believe to be this particular God. We believe Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. You're going to have to build up your relationship with him so you'll know exactly what he wants you to do. Now, if you feel like the Bible talks about us encouraging one another and help building each other up, our brother that are weak. When we give them advice, we basically, okay, let me help you. On this book, 3 words is on this book. It says, information plus application equals destination. Information plus application equals destination. If we give all the individuals who are struggling with a particular thing in their life the information, they will still end up at a destination, but it won't be their correct destination until they apply the information. We can feed people all the information we want. Until the individual applies the information, it will be the same result. Individuals, no matter who they are, us included, have to apply the information that we receive. It's like having something in our head, having a bunch of information in our head, but it never touches our heart. As you just have it in your head and it never gets in your heart, there never will be a change in a lifestyle. Never. It will never be a change in a person's lifestyle. If they have it here and not here, it will never be a change. Where we at? I forgot. Why haven't you made that? I did that. The next question is, what's important to you? This is a good question. The reason why this question is in the book is, what's important to you? When you find out what's important to you, again, our topic is minor adjustments. When you find out what's important to you, you will change situations based off of what's important to you. There's a thing that I learned. I can't really tell you who created or where it came from. I don't know the owner of it. But there's a thing that I learned, I use at my job when we're trying to create like treatment plans for clients, right? And when I find out what's important to you, we use this particular strategy to help these individuals. The first thing is called SMART. You can Google it, look it up. I don't know who actually created it, but I use it. It's called SMART. And the SMART is acronym. You know, when you use letters, acronym. The S stands for Pacific. The M stands for measurable. The A stands for attainable. The R stands for realistic. And the T stands for timely. So when I teach them, I say, listen, what's important to you? And whatever you have that you want to change in your life, that change that you want to make, you find out what's important to you. And when you find out whatever it is that's important to you, you make a goal. You make some type of goal for that thing that you believe it's important to you. And when you make that goal, you use the SMART acronym. SMART is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And when you put that goal, whatever it is that's important for you, and you put that on there and you stand on it and you just see it through. It could be relationship wise, it could be being a parent, it could be employment, it can be spiritual, it can be anything, any area of your life. You just always remember the acronym SMART, and you know whatever is important to you, and you use that same thing and you pick out something specific, and then you make it, whatever that thing is, you make it measurable, and then you make it attainable, something that you can attain, and then you make it realistic. And then you say timely. You set a goal and then you put a time on it and you live up to that goal, and that's what's important to you. Whatever is important to you. Next, let's go.
Do you know the definition of character?
No. What minor changes have you made? You can do it. What minor changes have you made on the outside? What minor changes have you made on the outside? We talked about minor adjustments, minor changes you made on the inside. What minor changes have you made on the outside? Listen to me. You can change some things in your life simply by making some minor adjustments. Listen to me. You can change some things in your life simply by making some minor adjustments. But in order for you to join God in what He is doing, you will have to make some major adjustments. Listen, you can make some minor adjustments in your life. You can make minor adjustments in your life. You can make changes in your life by simply making minor adjustments in your life. But in order to join God in what He's doing, it would have to be a major adjustment. That's Sunday at 11 o'clock, Glory Tabernacle Church, $18. You're gonna have to make the major adjustment. The major adjustment, you can make changes in your life by making minor adjustments. Hi, Anna. you can make minor adjustments. But in order for you to join in what God's doing, you're going to have to make a major adjustment. But I can't talk about that till Sunday, 11 o'clock. Do you know the definition of character? Do you know the definition of character? Character, this is one of the great words. Moral and ethical quality. The definition of character. Remember, we're talking about minor adjustments. Week 6, minor adjustments. Do you know the definition of character? One of my favorite people who have went home to be with the Lord is Miles Monroe. I have a CD. My pastor gave me a CD, and the title of the CD is "You Were Born to Be a Leader." And when he gave me the CD, and I put the CD in to listen to the CD, naturally, when I seen the title of the CD, "You Were Born to Be a Leader," I was very encouraged. I said, yeah, my pastor gave it to me. Your pastor give you something and you like, yeah, I was born to be a leader. I couldn't wait to get home and pop this CD in. So when I popped this CD in, the CD started off and talking about how much you need to build your character. And I said, oh man, I was born to be a leader. I thought I was born to be a leader. So I take the CD home, listen to the CD, and the CD was talking about character. It was talking about character. Hi, Mr. Reynard. It was talking about character. And what Mr. Miles Monroe showed me was, or what he was teaching was, he said, do you know every town, every state has a statue in the state? He says, if you look around the world, everywhere you go, every town has a statue in it. And he says, no matter what's going on, it can be raining outside, the statue is doing the same thing. Birds can release their feces on it, he said, and the statue is still doing the same thing. He said, it could be a crazy person who ain't right in their mind standing out there cussing that statue out, and that statue will still be doing the same thing. And he says, you know why that statue is still doing the same thing no matter what's going on? He says, because the statue has character. And he says, the thing about the statue having character, he remains the same no matter what's going on. And he says, but the thing about character, he says, the statue, in order for the statue to be how the statue came to be, my particular favorite statue is the Levander Johnson statue in Atlantic City. But he says the way that the statue became to be what it became to be is the person who created the statue had a chisel and a hammer, and it had to beat on it and beat on it and beat on it and beat on it and chip away until it came out exactly what it wanted to come out. And he says that's exactly how character is. Character has to be developed, has to be beat, and has to be chipped on until it comes out exactly how God intended it for it to come out. And that's why, do you know, the definition of character is in the book, because character is one of the things that has to be developed. It has to be developed. When you making minor adjustments, every individual have to develop their character. Let's see. We rolling here. Let's see. Can you wait to develop your character? Can you wait to develop your character? Would you stop at a stop sign, I wrote, if nobody was looking? I remember Pastor Robert Roman. I was at a facility. I was at American Schedule, County of Mercy, and they used to have stop signs there and everything. But I knew no cars was coming, so I would just run the stop sign. And I remember we was doing our discipleship mentor training, and he asked me, because his house was right by the stop sign. I used to run the stop sign, and he actually seen me running one time, and he said, "Would you run a stop sign if nobody was looking?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he says, that's your character. He says, you running the stop sign is basically nobody's looking, and you basically, whatever you'll do when nobody is looking,
that's who you are.
That's who you are. So you can't wait to develop your character. Character has to be developed. Nobody is all A's in character, but you have to let your character be developed.
And you know, when you're coming out of situations and you're making minor adjustments in your life, you have to give your character some time. And I say that because a lot of times my husband will go away to rehab, and he will come home, and he went away for 28 days. He come home immediately. He want control of everything. And you have to allow yourself some time away from things. You have to allow yourself some time to develop in areas, because your mind has been so accustomed doing the things you want to do. What makes you think that quickly you can handle money, you can handle finances, you can handle going to a crack house because you've been clean of it 60 days. You have to allow yourself some time
to develop that
to
character.
Be chipped on.
To be chipped on. Chipped on, yeah, because she was chipping me up, though, because I was helping her, though, because her character was really shot. So I used to be helping her. What's up, Eugene? The reason why his chain kept getting dull was because of the dirt. Remember, I told y'all that. The chain represents you, and the dirt represents what you do. If you're going to get something you never got, you will have to do something you never did. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, something positive, spiritual, your chain will stay sharp. But once you start putting your chain in dirt, something negative, it will become dull. And you will have to repeat the same steps over and over and over, just like I had to with that chainsaw. So remember, you have to let your character be developed. And development of character can only happen by being chiseled. How you doing, Eugene? Good to see you, brother. All right, next page.
The other thing about that, with that chainsaw, if you notice, he was cutting down things that it was designed to cut. It was cutting down branches and trees, but he was putting it in the dirt. The chainsaw was never, ever designed to cut dirt. You were never, ever designed
to be in dirt.
To be in the dirt.
Yeah.
So those lowly things that we do sometimes behind closed door, you were not designed to do those things.
It's the reason how you can always tell. We talk about mind adjustment and developing character. Character has to be developed. Character does not just come when you're born. Character has to be developed. But the things that what you do when nobody's looking is your character. And the reason you're not supposed to be doing the things that you do when nobody is looking, the proof is that's why you do it when nobody's looking.
And that's
the reason why you
that's why you do it when
that's why you, because you even know. You even know where I was at. Alright, let's go to page 57. We rolling right here. Again, we doing the minor adjustments. Today is week 6, which is the title of minor adjustments. It's 8 weeks. We on week 6. We got 2 weeks left. Alright. Let's see. Just minor adjustments. Just like when the soldiers come back home, they've been in combat or on the edge of it, and suddenly that just adjustment back to civilian life becomes a real challenge. It will be the same for you. A man or a woman is not rightly conditioned until they are happy, healthy, prosperous beings, and happiness, health, and prosperity are the result of a harmonious adjustment of the inner with the outer of the man or woman with their surroundings. The inner and the outer of a man with their surroundings. It's a story I always tell about. It was a kid that used to go with his grandfather, and he would go with his grandfather or his father or his uncles to see these wild turkeys fighting. And he was a kid, and every weekend he would go and see these wild turkeys fighting. And no matter what was going on, he would love to go. And his uncles and father and grandfather would go bet on these wild turkeys, and they would lose their money every week. So eventually the kid got older, and he was walking past the place where they used to have these wild turkeys fighting. And when he would walk past, he seen the man cleaning out the pit, and he asked the man, he said, "Sir, can I ask you a question?" And the man said, "Sure." He says, "Now, sir, I ain't going to ask you for all my uncle and father and grandfather's money back." And the man said, "Well, I'm glad you didn't, because you wasn't going to get it." So he says, "I did want to ask you one question. Every week we would come here and watch these wild turkeys fighting. Every week. And every week my uncles, grandfather, brothers, and everybody would lose their money, and you would always win. They would bet on the red turkey and the blue one would win. They would come back, bet on the blue turkey and the red one would win. And they said, I just want to know, sir, how did you know every week what turkey was going to win? And the man said the hardest part about getting them to come bet on turkeys. He says about which turkey was going to win, it was easy. He said, whichever one I fed the most. Now I said that to say this. Whichever one you feed the most is going to win. If you feed your inner man more than you feed your outer man, that's who's going to win. Whichever one you feed the most. The man told the kid, listen, it wasn't even hard to figure out who was going to win. I starved the blue turkey and fed the red one. And the next week when I came around, I starved the red one and fed the blue one. Whichever one you feed the most will win. If you feed in your flesh man all the things that the flesh crave, then that's what's going to dominate. If you feed yourself the spirit man, what the spirit man craves, that's the one that will dominate. Whichever one you feed the most is the one that will always win. And that's the minor adjustment that a lot of individuals, including myself, we have to make. We have to be mindful of which one we are feeding. If we're feeding the wrong one, then the one that's getting fed the most will always dominate. It's not a battle of God and the devil. I'm talking about us feeding. What are we feeding? Are we feeding our flesh or are we feeding our spirit?
And you have to be mindful when we say feed. Don't think it's natural, of course, but they say, well, you are what you eat. If you eat, you overeat, you'll gain weight. It's naturally, but we're talking more mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
Yeah.
If you know that you're lovesick and you're prone to get in these relationships with individuals that break your heart, don't sit around listening to love songs and watching these love movies, these sad movies. Do not feed that to yourself. If you just came from rehab, don't watch a lot of movies where drugs and addiction, and don't do that. You have to be careful what you're taking in.
You have to. Whichever one you feed the most is the one that's going to win.
And be mindful how you feed, even the people you hang around.
Definitely.
If you hang around negative people and every time they're around you, everything you're absorbing, everything they're discussing and you're taking it in your ear is negative, you need to make some minor adjustments and hang around opposite-like people.
Yes. The word adjustment means the operation of bringing all the parts into their proper relative position for use. All the parts, meaning your spirituality, your mental, your emotional, and your physical well-being. You have to bring all those parts into the proper relative position. Your physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional. You have to bring all those parts into the proper position. You have to bring them together. There's a completeness that you have to have when you're trying to make change or minor adjustments. The next one is question: who tells you what you should or need to adjust in your life? Babe, read that what I wrote down.
My wife.
Hey, hold on. It says, who tells you what you should or need to adjust in your life? What I write down there?
My wife.
Listen to these questions in the book and you had your own answers. And I had to read my own question. I said, who tells you what you should or need to adjust in your life? And I wrote down my wife. Right here, that's who tells me. Oh man!
When you have that type of friend in your life,
you need some who tells
that's
you.
going to tell you the truth and tell you the truth in love and not take your secrets out.
Yeah.
Not take it to break you down, but to build you up. I know we're saying that jokingly, but whatever I tell my husband, it's because that's my husband and I want the best for him.
Yeah.
A million people out there can tell him, oh, you're doing good, you're doing this, but if I notice something and it's just not right, it's on me to tell him, because those millions out there that are only looking on the outside and it does not affect them.
That's true.
It's not going to affect them if he falls or if he make a mistake. So, do you have the proper people around you who will tell you the truth
you need
in love?
Yeah. Who tells you what you should or need to adjust in your life? You need to have someone that tells you that you need to stop doing this. You need to do this. You need to stop talking this. You need to stop going there. You need someone to tell you
your breath
what to adjust in your life. If your breath stinks,
you need someone that tell you the truth. So you ain't walking out here and everybody talking about you. You need that friend say, look, you gotta carry some Tic Tacs.
You need that person that tells you, that you just came out the house and you was blowing your nose and you got something in your nose, and then you go talk to somebody and you talk to them, and then you go to the next person and that person say you had something in your nose, and you sitting there like, didn't the last person see it? Why they ain't tell me? Yeah, that person. You don't need that person. You need the person who told you that you had something in your nose. That's the people you need in their life. Exactly. Somebody who would tell you that you need to adjust something. You can't just sit there and say the person you left from, they never even told you had that thing in your nose, and then you get to somebody else and you sitting there, they like, you got something in your nose, can you clean your nose up? But the person I just left didn't tell me that. Why? Because everybody won't actually tell you you need to adjust something.
No,
they
rather see you unadjusted
or look humiliated. Yeah, but let's roll. We moving here. What adjustments have you made so far? What adjustments have you made so far? The reason why these questions are in there, because you need those type of questions, or I call them stepping stones. The adjustments that you have made so far, and I'm not trying to beat people down, but I'm saying the stepping stones that you have made so far, the adjustments you made so far, are the things you can build upon. And one of the things that I also use, it's a thing called, you can look it up, it's called stages of change. And it has these stages of change. You have contemplation, you have pre-contemplation, you have preparation, you have action, and you have a maintenance stage. Contemplation, pre-contemplation, action, preparation, action, and a maintenance stage. I love them all because you can fluctuate between them all, but I really love the preparation stage because of what it says about the preparation stage. It says when your person is in the preparation stage, the individuals has decided to change their behaviors and they begin to think about how to do so. During this stage, they will begin to make minor adjustments. Emphasis added. It says changes, but it says during this stage they will begin to make changes. The preparation stage, the individuals have decided to change. They decided to make minor adjustments. Like, they really don't know how to go about it, but they're
preparing.
they decided in their mind. They decided to do it, and they're preparing to do it. When an individual decides to make changes and prepare to do it, that individual is going to change no matter what anybody says about them. All right, let's roll. We here. Do you think that you condition your mind? Do you think conditioning your mind is a great place to take up? Is returning to your old neighborhood a challenge for you? Do you allow your surroundings to control you? Let's see. Adjustments are not easy in this world that constantly tell us to look out for number one, but we should look out for others first and then ourselves. Sometimes you lose more than you win. It's about handling the losses and trying to turn them into positives. When a baseball player gets called up from the minor leagues, they go into the big leagues, and there's a period of adjustments to be made on their part. They have to adjust. They have to handle it. It's no more time left for them to be getting ready. They have to be ready to perform in the big leagues or get sent back down to the minor leagues. Are you ready for the big leagues? And minor adjustments, again, this is 8 weeks we've been doing This is our 6 weeks of minor adjustments. The subject today is making minor adjustments. And again, we are dedicated to preventing and reducing crimes, and our primary purpose is to teach men and women how to make the minor adjustments that are necessary for their lives, which will allow them to obtain and maintain a productive lifestyle after incarceration and or rehabilitation. Our motto is anywhere but backward.
Go back to this question.
Which one?
The last one.
Do you allow your surroundings to control you?
Do you allow what's going on around you to control your behavior, your emotions, how you're thinking, and how you react? My husband talked a couple of weeks ago, and he said you need to be more like the thermostat and not the thermometer. And the thermostat sets the temperature for its surroundings, but the thermometer only gauges and measures what that temperature is.
Yeah.
So do you allow that? Because I know sometimes in the medical field, it can be frustrating. You're working with different types of patients, you're working with different providers, you're working with different co-workers, and everybody, you don't know what a person brings from home. So you bring all this around you, and people don't always see eye to eye. They don't always get along. And sometimes I have to go back in privacy and regroup, so I don't let that fill me up. I have to stay a certain way. So I have to go in and look on the inside. Like, okay, am I absorbing this negativity? Is this stuff making me feel less than what I am?
Sure.
Or is it making me feel as if I can't cope? Sometimes you have to go off to yourself and separate yourself from that mentally and take a look at yourself. And then you go back and you set that tone. If you don't like how that's making you feel, you set that tone, because you do not have to receive that stuff upon yourself. You don't have to receive it.
At all. Minor adjustment isn't about one big change. It's about a lot of small changes, alongside avoiding high-risk situations that will help you create a new life where it's easier not to use or commit crime. Put yourself in an environment. I teach this all the time. I built my life to the point where it's easier for me not to use. How is that possible? Because I don't hang around a lot of people who are currently using. So I put myself in my particular situation, my surrounding. It's easier for me not to use. Meaning, if you see me using, the people around me, I'll stick out. They'll be like, man, what's going on? So it's easier. Put yourself, build your creation or your atmosphere or your surroundings around how make it easier for you not to do it.
That's right. And if it means deleting the numbers out your phone, changing your friends, it doesn't matter. They say, oh, you trying to get new on me?
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to get new. Not on you. I'm just trying to be new. If that's what it takes, that's what you have to do. What are you willing to take? What's important to you? Are you going to make a contribution to your minor adjustments?
Or commitment.
Are you going to take a commitment?
That's
the difference
good.
Between the chicken and the pig is the pig knew it was going to cost him his
life. That's right.
When you make a contribution, it's costing you greatly. It's costing you. If it's something you could just throw it in and it didn't affect you, then you made a contribution. But if it's costing you some what you think is friendships, if it's costing you some distance, it's some things that you have to let go of, if it's costing you greatly, then you are making a contribution.
Yeah. And not a commitment. Well, this was a great number week of minor adjustments. And the thought for the day is happiness comes from some serious adjustments to life. And with that, we'll be back next week at 6 p.m. We will be going over humility. Humility. Next week, we will be going over humility. Hi, Pastor Roman. Which is the 7th week we will be doing. And then we'll have the 8th week, which is living victorious. So hopefully, you'll tune in next week at 6 p.m. And again, As always, Minor Adjustments is dedicated to preventing and reducing crime, and our primary purpose is to teach men or women how to make the minor adjustments that are necessary in their lives, which will allow them to obtain and maintain a productive lifestyle after incarceration and or rehabilitation. And our motto is anywhere but backwards. And Jeremiah 7:24 says, "Yet they did not obey and incline their ear to me, but they followed the counsel and the dictates of their evil hearts, and they kept going backwards instead of forward." And our motto is anywhere but backwards. God bless y'all.
If you don't remember
we'll see you at
this
6
week,
p.m.
Remember, think smart.
Think smart.
Specific,
measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely.
Think
smart. Think smart. God bless you.
Bye.